Once you travel in the spiritual realm, you learn to respect the spirit. You don't invite the spirit of darkness if you are not ready to fight it. I downloaded a number in the spirit.
That's interesting. That's interesting. We're listening, sir. Men of God, we're listening. How do you download someone's number?
Which one is this one?
That's
Nkululeko on Cultr.
It's very strange. You're telling me that you were healing people when you were 12 years old.
Yeah, I started when I was 12
What
years.
What happened to school?
Ngiyeke isikolo when I was 12 years. Uphuma kwami esikolweni. Ndiyenda entabeni when I was 12 years. Dama ndawukweluka. So ngaba surprise ekhaya beva sekuthiwa hayi le out isematatiela. So my mother was like, ufuna napho?
Yeah.
Kwathiwa hayi manifika phaa kwathiwa ena ndiyajikiswa because I'm young.
Yeah.
So ngama ndathi hayi no, I'm old. Wabuzibona ngaphi? Ndathi I'm 19. And andimde kwathiwa, are you sure? That yeah, I'm 19. Kwathiwa okay, it's fine. Ndangena ngaphakathi. So I think I always tell people that's where I actually realize personally my gift. Bengiyibona because when I was young, when I was 8 years, I was hospitalized for a year. So I was attacked with worms. Uyabona? So ngahlala esibhedlela for unyaka. So that is iva zaziphuma ngomlomo and all of that, you know. Okay, xa usemncinci uzozibona ivision but awuzuzazi bazithini, you know. But my grandmother will always tell me, but look, you are special, there's something about you, but I'm young, I wouldn't know. Ngifuna ukufunda esikolweni, mangifika esikolweni ngibona problems etishala, ngibona problems abantwana besikolo bayangihleka and all of that, you know. And I always share this story to my daughter Untomgaisa because she has the same calling. So and I remember ndana 12 before nizokweluka. So into bendiyenza esikolweni bendingayi ezilayinini. Yabona mos
The assembly.
Yeah, so bendisenza shop because bendimde. So and bendinamasheri afundo 7. So so bendihlala toilet and make sure that xa sebephuma abantu lentozini kwi-assembly then qhambe sneak around yongena eklasini. So I had few of them. So ndandingafuna uba embarrass. And most of them, they didn't even know uba ndifunda bani. Yeah, what? Because I'm this guy making sure uba esikoleni ndifika later. Ndasenekoba ndingene ezantsi kwetoilet ngizihlalele phaa. Uyabona? So the other day ucaba i-class teacher yam so uba andibikho kwi-assembly. So you make sure that uya research uba why ndingayi kwi-assembly. Then someone wamxalela uba look, this guy uhlala etoilet. So that day what decided ubuzon-embarrass. Kwathiwa ngumiwe kwi-assembly wahamba waya etoilet. Wangena kwi-toilet zabafana wathi kula uhlala khona asihambe siye kwi-assembly. Chief was very embarrassed because imagine kukhona osister apha and umde abantwana endifunda nabo bangaka and I've always been umuntu omde, uyabo. I was very embarrassed, you know. I was and I remember sangena eklasini but the whole gent happens sahamba seklasini waxa eqala ukubhala in my heart I said magawe right now, then waxhuzula, you know, waxhuzula. And I was angry because I felt like uyenze ngamabomu. You understand? Ngaphuma esikoleni, ngaphuma eklasini, while exhuzula ngaphuma eklasini.
Xhuzula is to have an epileptic attack,
yes.
Basically. It's to have an epileptic attack. So the story you're telling is that you were so angry with. I'm just trying to translate to those who don't understand that the story you're telling is about a teacher who upset you when you were young in primary school, and it's at a point where after the embarrassment, the moment of embarrassment, you went to the classroom, and inside the classroom, you had this deep desire for them to just fall down.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I was very angry, man of God, So, waxhuzula. And while exhuzula, wayijola nenye itishala khona esikolweni. And ndamxalela xa ephakama, look, you must never do that again. I will kill you. I think that's where.
How old were you at this time?
I was 12 years before the interview.
And you told your teacher that you would kill them.
I told her. I said I will kill you.
And it's a female teacher.
It's a female teacher. I said I will kill you. You must never do that again. And ndabizwa ngo-principal wethu wayezithandela amagumla uyabo. So wayolandwa ethavele.
Your principal was an alcoholic.
Yes. So athi ena wenzeli wethini ndithi ena andenza nganto athi ufuneka ukukhakhaza xa ithi uyakhakhaza meaning uzokubetha so ndibethwa then I go home. Then I started now to realize but wow, this thing is real, this thing is real. Then ke ngoku the whole journey happened xa ndisentabeni. One of guys azasuluke naye babefuna ukumthwebula, so ndakwazi ukumbuyisa. So that's when ke ngoku my calling, I started to realize but look, I have a calling. I do not know what is it because I was exposed to emagqirheni ubufundisi, but for me I knew but it's bigger than that because amajita amadala, that's when ke ngoku aqalazayo ba yemfethu awusinikeze iyeza lesheri yabo sifuna amantombazana ndimnikeze umjita athi hey ihambe grand usinikeze into yamajita xa sibetha, and I will have this vision uba ena dibanisa into ethile, mix into ethile iphume ibe into ethile, without going to a school yokokuba ndiyofundela ubunyango okanye ngiyothwasa.
Oh yeah, that's my natural question would be, how do you learn to mix the herbs so that you could help these people?
For me, they will just come nje. Someone will come and xalela iproblem yakhe, kufika into ethi ena no dibanisa isiqungu, dibanisa into ethile umnikeze ahambe, omnye dibanisa ikhokho wenza ukuthi umnikeze ahambe. I always I think first time ndifika emzimkhulu uqala kwami ukucupha umuntu, ukufunda ukucupha umuntu, when you come to me and say look, I need to do something bad to someone, you understand, and we're sharing off the camera and sit, and first time qala ufumana 60,000 to 70,000, someone came and said hey awunishayela ubani uyangihlupha lento zeni emsebenzini, ndathatha ikhokho.
You remember how old you were at the time?
No, I was ngimuve ekhaya after ndluke na 12 years ndamuvela emzimkhulu. I was 13, ndahlala emzimkhulu ndaza eJoburg. I was 16, so I was 13 at that time, 13 to 14.
And someone gave you 70,000.
70,000.
To kill someone else?
No, not to kill. You just said, I need you to punish her. Because at that time already emzimkhulu besendisebenza. So besekusaziwa but there's this young boy, bantu bamateksi, they will come. You know amadoda asoloko efuna induku zamadoda.
Sure.
Hey unika induku yamadoda, unika ukuthi. That's where I always say my dark life started. People started to introduce money to me, and I started to see yokokuba actually there's more money ekwenzeni izinto ezi darkness kunokulapha abantu. And I always say that's where and I believe that now because I'm old, that's where uNkulunkulu wanted me to learn and go through at that particular time, because I was introduced by this guy. This guy said, look, uyangihlupha lo muntu pha emsebenzini and ufuna ukungixothisa, you understand, and lo muntu lona ubambe iposition yami because wayekwamasipala. So if ngangena pha ngingakhupha amathenda amaninzi. I said okay, nginike igama lakhe, yabo, wanginike igama lakhe, sathanda thatha icoke, thatha inaliti eziyi-14, thatha amanzi kagesi, and the whole dance ashukushe ngathi ufika uyilahle emsebenzini, ufika wayilahle wabhlokhe kumchamo.
So how would they do this at work? What would they do? Because an office is a big space. So specifically, kumele ayilahle kuphi?
No, egate.
Oh, at the gate.
Once I touched umhlaba, then it happened.
What if someone other than the person intended for steps on?
No, inegama lakho. Remember, spirit spirit, they come by invitation. Everywhere you go, they are different spirit, but it just that as nalo igama lakho. So even if akho semsebenzini, I can even throw it use Cape Town dilapha eJoburg. Once uvuke kuseni utasha umhlaba, then you'll be able ukudibana naye because sisebenza through umhlaba, you understand? And inegama lakho. So we invite that spirit ngegama lakho ba apho khona once utasha umhlaba, then it must happen.
So the man pays you 70,000 rands and you give them this concoction, they take it to work. What happens after?
They take it to work. Then he came and say, "Hey, ageze emsebenzini." Yeah,
and they like they can't pee. Okay.
Then I knew what happened, and I said, "This thing we need to cut it because once kuphele 10 days engachama uzohamba, you know." And he said, "No, continue. I'm gonna pay you more." You know, so that's where my dark side started. You know, whatever happened there, then he got the position. Then he started to introduce others. You know, if you have this problem, this guy can help you. If you want to win a tender, this guy can help you. If you're going through this guy can help you. So it started there again. So I got tired again ukwenza the same thing because umzimkhulu mncinci.
Just hold on before you continue. What was the impact of a 13-year-old having 60,000, 70,000? What did you do with that kind of money?
Jeez, man. Hey, you know xa kuthiwa unikwa 60,000, ne?
It's a lot of money for a 13-year-old.
Awukazi uphathe le 10,000.
Yeah.
So you bound to do. It's just that I've always been a family guy. I've always been umntu andithanda izinto ngokudalwa. Ndithanda imali, but I'm not a flashy person. So and I believe ngela xesha ngathenga inkomo and ayinikeze umama and do just rent a car because bendihlala nomalume wami elentozeni emzimkhulu, so ndamnikeza enye ndayigcina, uyabona, yiyo ndayisebenzisayo most of it ukuze eJoburg.
It's difficult to understand how a 13-year-old could handle that amount of money. I mean, I've been 13. Everyone who's watching has been 13. The first thing you would do is to just buy sweets and chocolates. At 13 years old, I mean, you would find something to spend that money on. And even after spending 500 rands, you will still feel like you still have way more money than you need.
I think for me, because at 13% chola nokchola. So I was look, I always this is what I always, when I look at my life, and I said, I'm not sure if I matured very early, but something happened, you know, because I first make my first million, if I'm not lying, I was 18. I first had my first house when I was 18.
That's impressive.
My first house.
That's very impressive. But we'll get to that story. You said something. This is a very interesting conversation. You said something about being 8 years old and having worms. Yeah. Were you operated? How difficult was that for you, if you can still remember? What happened to you? Exactly what happened?
Look, and for me, ngaphandle kokuva pain, there was nothing difficult, you know. I think kwakubuhlungu nje abazalini bami because umama wami wayesebenza South Coast casino. Ngela xesha say South Coast, I'm not sure if it's yiyo na. So before I am emsebenzini wayeqala esibhedlela. Naxa ebuye emsebenzini wayeqala esibhedlela. Umakhulu wami because abehlala eBizana, so will come once a week. Every Friday ngasengimazi uma uzofika, you understand? And at that time ndandihlalele ebhedini nje.
The whole year that you were 8 years old, you were in hospital.
Ndisesibhedlela ndiyaphalaza iworms. So what decided to banzo yakwi operation. The day ndizoya ku operation ekuseni umakhulu wafika ebusuku. Though I don't remember ixesha bakwangobani. Wafika engiphathela amanzi esityeni and wathela esiswini wathandaza, and ngisawukhumbula nangoku umthandazo wakhe wathi, Thixo yenza njengoba uthe uzokwenza. Then that was it. Wahamba. After ihambile, I just felt I need to go to the toilet. The toilet ngazikhupha zingaka. Then that was it. Izaphela worms.
How big were those worms?
Ezazininzi man of God. Ngakhupha isigaxa because kwakuthiwa ngizo-operator. Then remember unyaka wonke mangiye toilet ngangizitsala ngangizikhupha. You understand? But now zave zaphuma zacheckwa kwathiwa no you are fine. Hlala kodwa usuku because ngangizilapha ngebenzina. Ngifake ibenzina ngifake lentoza ubisi. So at least andizoziva zimove esisweni mangizenze njalo i-pain ayizubanitsi. Then ngaphuma ngaye ekhaya. You understand? It's only now where the interpretation yam will be different if I to explain that, you understand, to someone. You understand? I will say I was attacked at a very young age, you know, and uNkulunkulu wanted to make sure that uyangigcina for such a time like this, because the 8-year-old having worms for a year ezinga-explainekiyo, you understand, and seeing umakhulu wami ezikhupha, and still naxa seyingasekho eyiphathi yobomi bam to direct me spiritually, you understand. So it really now inkhombisa uba uNkulunkulu had a plan. And nezinto engigqithe kuzo, because I always say to people, though ndingathanda ukungena kakhulu kwizinto zobumnyama that I've done, because I've done a lot of things, man of God. It's just that now highlighter for people to understand that kuyakwazi ukuphumeka ebumnyameni, and the power of money, the power of influence, whether uzothi ungene because of you needed money, whether uzothi it was an influence, but you still doing the wrong thing. You understand? It doesn't make it right, but it's part of my journey. It's part of my life. It's what I had to go through to be where I am today.
Well, you didn't finish the part where the man couldn't pee for 10 days. Yeah. What happened to the person?
What happened to the person? Something happened. Nobody, but something happened. But the guy ended up taking a position. I think we're Kupama tent. I do not know why he sends Anton, but we are Kupama tent.
Do you not? I asked this question from Ugogo Skoteni as well, as she was explaining Uksiza Abantu Abazinkabi, helping assassins with their work. Do you not feel any sense of responsibility?
Not at all. Not at all. Now I feel it, but back in the days, not at all. For me, because for me, I didn't care. Give me money. I will do your job. You understand? Go and do your things. But make sure that you do what I want you to do. You understand? I remember one day I had a challenge with someone. Owayesenza lo msebenzi, so ndamnika something wangayisebenzisi ngendlela and ayisebenzise ngayo, and he wanted to come to me. You know, that's a danger Inkabi, because ingqondo yazo zine-bipolar nje serious. So they believe in one thing ebomini babo. I-solution yabo is to kill, you understand. So then he called me. They used to call me Nkabenkebe. He said, "Hey Nkabenkebe, hey ndoda le nto unika yona ayisebenzanga." He said, "Manje sengicishe ngaboshwa kwamapolisa nto." Then ndiyambuza uba wenze njani, wenze this. Hayi man uthe man, then akenzanga le nto andifuna yenza, uyabona. Then ndandimbona uba ufuna ukunikhombisa uba you can do something, that ukumpanisha kancane, ukumkhombisa uba don't think about that. You understand? So I'm trying to say there's always, if you deal nabantu who have power okanye who are dangerous, you will always want to make sure that they know that though they are dangerous, but you are powerful more than them. You understand? So now, awulali now, it doesn't give you peace. There are certain powers that you need to inquire every day. There are certain spirits that you need to walk with every day, because you know that lo mntu umncedayo can become danger to you. You understand? Ifana noba xa ndikunika into yokuba ungadubuleki okanye ndikunika into yokokuba whatever ndikunika yona, you wouldn't want someone to have the same power that you have. You understand?
How does that work? If you give someone powers to not be shootable, how does that work? What do you do to them, and what happens when they go out there to do their work?
Look, spiritualists, we work different. We understand. It's different method, but basically, umuntu ongadubuleki usuke ehamba nesilwane. Whether we explain njani, whether uvuse family member yakhe engasekhoyo, whether uye emangcwabeni wayovusa umuntu ongamazi, but kufuneka uvuse isilwane singe. That's why awudubuleki, but once uphume igazi isilwane siyasuka. So then udubuleki. So the fact that awudubuleki, it doesn't mean awuhlabeki. So that is why abantu abangadubuleki abayaziyo imethod yongadubuleki will make sure bafuneka kuhlabile. After kuhlabile waphuma igazi, then isilwane disappear. So ngesikhathi udutyulwa isilwane sitake over. So there are certain things okanye funeka ube nebhanti okanye funeka sithathwe sifakwe ngaphakathi kwemzimba.
So have you seen that in action?
No, definitely. Definitely. I've helped many people. I've used it to myself. You understand?
So in order for you to trust it at the beginning, when you were inexperienced, how would you know that would work? Because it's risky to just get shot. Because if you're dead, you can't find out whether that thing worked or not. So how would you have known it even from the beginning, what this thing is going to work?
Look, if you're a spiritualist, you don't just give something to someone who has experience. If you're a spiritualist, before I give you anything, remember, before ndikunika into funeka ngiqale ndihambe ndiyovusa umuntu emangcwabeni. So that process on its own will tell you, but there's no way that it cannot work.
I don't understand when you say ukuvusa umuntu emangcwabeni, like to awaken the dead from the graveyard. What does that mean? Is that a metaphor, or do you really do that, or you have done that?
It depends how you summon that spirit, but it's a process of you go at 12 o'clock. Let me explain elegantly. You come to me with this is 300,000 in ungadubuleki. Then I say to you, I'm going fumanela ihash, ne? Unfumanele inkomo. Now, the spirit, any spirit is funikas. The asekho spirit is ngafunikas. Ne? So, nezinye izinto ke kushe emnyama and so forth that you can use. Then you go with your team emangcwabeni. You nawe then sifike kwembe umgodi, mawembe umgodi siqhele lento, sichithe igazi, then ungene ngaphakathi. Mawungena ngaphakathi sifake ipetrol engcwabeni lakho, sijikeleze ingcwaba lakho ngepetrol, sibe sesifaka imela funeka zibe 130, you understand, nenalite sizifake zibhekane kanje, ne bullets. Then after sizifake zibhekane kanje, mawuvuka wena engcwabeni kufuneka uvuke ukhulule impahla uyishiye engcwabeni. Ne? Xa uqeda kuyishiya engcwabeni ube ifuna yenziwe endaweni enamanzi ahambayo. Mawuqeda lo ongale uzofaka ipetrol emanzini abe seyilayita amanzi. Uyawazi bake ubifaka ipetrol emanzini amanzi azovutha. Then lo uzobe efakile certain things atshone emanzini agqithwe ngomlilo. So igqibile process. Seyihamba yakhaya uyamxelela bongalali nomuntu ongumama for 14 days. Then ulale wedwa endlini. Ku 12 o'clock lo. At 2 o'clock, so semangcwabeni uyovusa ispirit. You don't have to ukuvusa ispirit somuntu omaziyo. Remember, ukuvusa ispirit, it's a code. You speak, you don't speak in tongues, but there is a code to talk to dead people. You understand? Then you go emangcwabeni uyovusa umuntu owayekhohlakele, depending which spirit ofuna simgade. Khona ispirit osivusa esizofuna igazi, yabona, le kuthiwa umuntu uvuse ispirit esibi. You understand? Unquma eyona ndlela into ayifuna igazi. Kube khona ispirit esi-right esizomprotecta kuphela. Mayifuna igazi iyamncinza lento. You understand? Xa ixabana nawe, you sometimes uyambona uyashake uyathetha. There are too many ways. You understand? But when as a spiritualist, because you know the language ofune uyithethile, yokuvusa this spirit, and masosivusile usena control. Yes.
Do you realize what you've just explained is almost similar or exactly identical to what Satanists or people who undertake satanic rituals do? 130 knives around it, there's blood around. It's like a satanic ritual. Would you say that that's a fair statement to say? And how different is what you're doing with people who, because there are people who say they are Satanists, it's their religion. They follow the religion of Satan. It's like a satanic ritual, what you've just explained to me.
How do I put it? Ngifuna uyibeka ngendlela mhlawumbe umuntu osekhaya ozoyimamela.
Sure.
Ozoyi-understand. When ifana into ze-Illuminati and so forth, satanic, it's group of people abadibanayo and decide, but look, thina sisela igazi, we worship this God, a God of Mamit, God of cult, whatever it is. You understand? Anyone can be satanic, anyone can be spiritual. You understand? But as a spiritualist, you have power to go in the darkness. You have a power to go in the light. It's a special power that comes straightly from God. Then it depends to you as a person that, and are you using the knowledge that God has invested in you to do the wrong things, or you are using to do the right things? Now, when you are part of certain cult, it means that is where you belong. You understand? And as a spiritualist, that is why you find many spiritualists, they have cult, they have a club, zobumnyama, where say you join 1 million, you join 100, depending that spiritualist, uba sesi powerful kangakanani. La kuditshwana khona 12 o'clock, or then kuchonu i-family member, okanye bangabulali umuntu basilothe ihagu okanye basilothe imfene, depending whatever method that they use. But it's a decision that one take. Kube khona who are invited sense of spirit without them being aware. Ukumbule, when we talk about cult, when we talk about the darkness, the light, it's only the spirit. I can use it kuwe ngingathatha ispirit sakho okanye ngithathe ilentoza i-4-5 yakho ngiyosebenza ngaye ebumnyameni. You understand? Depending kuba ena ndifuna ukuzuza ntoni. That is why you will find many guys abenza as ritualist kuzothiwa ambolala na too many women. You understand? Ukulala nawo you are sharing lo moya. You understand? Namantombazana lala nabafana abaninzi. There are too many ways, but at that particular time, for me, I was not part to any cult. I was just a young man, knows how to manipulate power. You understand? And even Satanists or Tetanazo, they used to come to me and want more power, and I will give it to them. Some sizodibana kwela komoya silwe. You understand? Because it's a territorial. It's a question of who has power more than who. You come to me and say, hey man, bendigo gogo bani engingamazi, umkhulu bani engingamazi, manje seyangihlupha, yangithreatenisha uthi mangiphuma kuye uzongishaya. You understand? My responsibility ngiyabuza okay mhlekazi, hey lento ufuna ukuyenza ngingakwenzela, sengimcheckile lo muntu ukhulumana ngaye, uyabona, unawo amandla but ngingamshaya, uzonginikani? Athi umuntu no, nginayo i-10 rand, nginayo i-20 rand, whatever the case. Do I want to do it? Do I need that money? If you give it to me, so ngumntwana wam, I must protect you. I must go out of my way to protect you. So I'm saying at that particular time, this is a journey that I'm finding myself
I'm struggling to find the separation between I get what you're saying, Wuti. Spirituality has different realms. You can decide to use it to be a force of darkness or a force of good. But what you're explaining to me sounds strikingly similar to Satanism. I'm struggling to see the separation. Although abantu as a Satanist will say, but that's what they follow. Because it's an official religion.
Also remember, they are not even Satanists. It's like you going to church and say you know God, you've never met God. So it's like people talking about Satan, they've never met him. You know, in life, man of God, let me do this for you to understand. You owning a podcast. You hire, let's say you hire 10 girls. Ne? I own a podcast, I hire 10 girls. So we are good men's chatting. Then I said to Mtwane Nonsebenzela, look, masitibane hotel ethile. Then I come to you and said, what you are doing, it's evil. And you said, then I said to you, you have a choice. Not to get into the trap. You are a good man, don't do that. Now I had a similar situation. You understand? But I choose not to do it. You understand? So it's a particular choice. Whatever, when you can explain to someone, it will never make sense because you had a choice not to do it. That's why when I explain this to people, I say, I had a choice. I knew that it's wrong, but it gave me money at that particular time. And I had the power to do it. You understand? Okay. But I am not part of anything because I've never sacrificed anything to be part of anything. You understand? But I have this power that I'm using it wrong or that I'm supposed to use it right. You understand? Whether the definition now and the explanation now is that God wanted me to go through this so that I see the work of the devil. Because I've met him, I know him. I know, and I've delivered people who are satanic. I delivered people who are root in the
Sure.
Because I know what it takes. And when I talk about the spirit, I'm not talking about information and knowledge. I talk about what I know.
Real life experience.
You understand?
Yeah.
I travel there and I see many people beselikas, many people that we celebrate. They are part of Cultr.
We'll get to that. That's interesting. One of the biggest detraction, I'm trying to find the words to simplify this, but over the years, the number of people who do not believe in what you say and the existence of what you say, the question that they will always ask will be, why did white people come from Europe and conquer Africa and black people not being able to use spirituality to fight that? So white people came from Europe, they took West Africa, they took Southern Africa, they conquered different regions of Africa, and it's African people who show a proclivity to belief. They are closest to belief than every other race of people, arguably. We are closest to belief, whether it's in spirituality or in God or in churches. We are deeply rooted in some sort of belief as African people. And over the last 100, 200 years, people have always said that if you guys are able to do this, Amaklele, Amagrecha, all of these types of people in the spiritual realm, why haven't you been able to defend black people or protect black people from their lands being taken, from using the apartheid? What would you say to that? Because that's like one of the most common things to say. If this thing exists and if it works, why couldn't you stop apartheid, for example?
Look, man of God, I think history has tetela. If you go and check king ezininzi ebezihamba namagqirha ebezihamba with spiritual people, you know, things that were happening there. Siphila kwilizwe, and I'm going to answer you.
Sure.
But ndifuna nje ukubalisela something. I was watching something, but I don't want to mention names. This person, she was saying, uchisa malapho bugqirha, ne? Then someone interviewayo. This is what I watch because andingomntu andudlala Facebook or don't you know, it's my team about hey, go to ban, go, I don't know. So someone sent it to me. So this guy who interviewed lo sis uchisile amabhayi.
So they are rejecting ubungoma. That's why they are burning.
Ngokwe understanding yakhe.
Okay.
Because remember lapho just a lap. So which is a lap doesn't mean anything. But again,
but the message is conveying
the message
that
is conveying.
I am done with ubungoma.
You are
I'm
done
burning
with
all of this.
And again, we don't know whether babuke bakhona na no yeah. So, and the person who are explaining but no, I had to go through emlanjeni ndiyohlamba, and the guy said, "Hey, I hope it was not a man." Ne? And the lady said, no, it was not a man. Then I asked myself, this is a mind of a black person. You go to a gyno, that is a man. If I'm a spiritualist and you go and you're going to as you're going to the doctor, I'm answering you now. The problem of black people, even government, COVID, a government never said, you spiritual people, come, let's meet. What can you do? Do you understand? We're all sidelined. But COVID is the same thing as ithetha ngabantu. Your alu yenziwa ngomthi. I-grandpa yenziwa ngesihlahla. All of those things. But I'm saying we are not given a platform to say, and I'm not saying because as much of one will look at izinto as bad as we spirituality, because we talk about the bad thing, but even a doctor, there are so many things that as bad as in about doctor that we can sit and talk about it. You understand? Because whenever there's human, there will always be something wrong. So I'm saying we can easily do that, but we are not given a platform. There is no voice of churches. There is no voice of spirituality anywhere. You understand? Abantu esibancetayo ngabantu who come to us secretly. Same applies neto yakudala. Bese dasihamba neking. I-kings will want inyanga yazo ba ingaziwa.
No, for sure. That's actually factual. Because it's documented in history that a lot of kings would use spiritual people to protect them when they go to war. Even in the Bible,
there is no king even a prophet that has ever enqobe. So the problem is the generation is pilago. We still need to decolonize because most of imithi eniselayo yesilungu yenziwa ngomhlaba, but mo ufika kumo uzofika unibuza uba itestwe iphi. You get what I'm saying? So and I believe that these platforms are going to awaken people to say, look guys, I think it's about time where we need to emtata and say we have 10 spiritual people esibatestileyo ba uthiyathagatha awukubiza umkhovu wakho ngoku on camera siwubona. You understand? Okay, sizokubiza wona mhlawumbe.
I think that would be the easiest way for people to verify whether or not this works.
You understand?
Kunempi abantu base Russia nabase Ukraine bayeza la bazosibulala. Can you just summon the thunder and kill those people on our behalf?
Yeah, and it doesn't mean when you don't believe in it, it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Because you do not believe it. Whether you believe with force of private, you understand?
Absolutely.
That's a fact. So and I think it's about time where we need to challenge the government to say, look, we are African, you know, and Lendo Itetayo, men of God, is say calamity needs. Ikese needs abantu nabamnyama. Ngexesha le COVID umuntu omnyama was never prioritize. Abantu bakuthi bebengcwaba otata bemizi beqhinwe ngamaplastic kungaxhelwa nkomo. Ayikho indoda omzi eyozihambe iye kwilizwe labafileyo ingakhatshwa inkabi yenkomo. Kuhle ngoba ungumXhosa, you will know that. We understand. And whether we are Zulu, Xhosa, Tswana,
as long as you're an African person.
As long as you're an African person. Xa kuhamba indoda yomzi kufuneka kube khona inkomo eyamkela loo ndoda emanyangeni. But the same president wethu, the same political watu ngumuntu omnyama oyi-understandayo le nto siyithethayo, but they never put that in consideration. You understand? Other than that, abantu abamnyama, they were punished, bebebethwa, kuchithwa imiqombothi, all of that into elusizi bisenzekele. But now abantu abashiyeke nezo zinto ngabantwana that need to face that calamity. Yokokubutata uyabuya ngoku kwilizwe lamathongo because akamkelekanga. We understand? And mayibuya, we do not know what to do because we do not have money yokwenzela umsebenzi. Xa siya kuProfethi Mamane, uProfethi Mamane usixalela le, masiya kwinyanga ethile sixalela le, who to trust now. We understand? And we still have people who believe that ukuthandaza ngesilungu better than ukuthandaza nomuntu omnyama. That is why when you say you are an African spiritualist, automatic umuntu se associate nobuthakathi. We understand? Any black yomuntu omnyama and any church yomuntu omnyama is criticized.
Well, some of the things that you describe, like whether we like it or not, in the way that people imagine them. When you go and summon the spirit of the dead, for example, and you describe 130 knives and petrol and people going in and out of a grave, I think that's why I was saying the separation of this thing it sounds satanistic. That's why the things that you help people with, as the more people hear about them and understand, what did you do? You help Inkabi to do what? How did you help them? That to regular normal people sounds like witchcraft.
I think also we must find time to understand because I believe if we were to go with that narrative for everyone you're target, because if you give someone money, wake up tomorrow, imali isebenzise ukwenza something, you have opened indlela kulo muntu to have that platform to do that. We understand? I'm saying there are things that you are not supposed to do in the realm of the spirit. You end up doing it. It doesn't mean the right, but we need mentors and fathers that will father young people so well to say, you have this power. As you were asking me, having money at a very young age. I was lucky because I've never drank alcohol. You understand? I've never mama drugs because one also if you have that money at a very young age, then you will uzodibana ungena kwizilekini ungena kuyo yonke lento spending. I've never done that because I had a foundation yabazali abathi uthe unamalini sinikeze. Do you get what I'm saying? This is how you should live. This is how you should live. But now my parents, they were not spiritual. They couldn't guide me spiritual. So that is the problem that I always have when such platform like this, like other platform, when we talk about spirituality, then we will find someone who's a professor in knowledge. Knowledge and spirituality are two different things.
No, for sure.
Do you understand? We're talking about the real world. We're talking about the dimensions. We're talking about the rank, the realms. You understand? Where also any spirituality, any spiritual person must have power to defend or defend. You understand?
It's interesting. I'm so sorry to cut you. Okay. I want you to lean into you being this young person, making this money and helping people with consultations. What could you see and what can you still see? So you just walked into this room, there's Khawkhelo, there's myself, and here's my family coming in as well.
Okay.
What's the extent to your gift when you interact with strangers? You were on a flight a few hours earlier, and on that flight there were 100 people. What is the extent of that spiritual gift?
Before I used to have an headache, but luckily I've never zange ndabhodla. You know, when you will see someone, it shows you that he or she still young in the spiritual realm. You understand? For me, I can sit like this in Bonba in 3 hours you're going to die. You understand? I will ask God, can I do something? And he said no, then I keep quiet. I'm matured. I've learned to mature. Whatever, I'm connected to the land. I'm connected to God. I'm connected to spirit. There are more things that I can do. It's like when a person, challenge me. I got young people that they know Nkebe, you know, but now they hear that I'm a prophet. I've saying as Yega certain things, you know.
Maybe begging a scene to like when you walk. I still ask that question. When you walk into this room, you've given us one example, Uguti. There are times when you have a sense that this person is going to perish.
Yeah.
They're going to die in 3 hours.
Yeah.
Now, in practical terms, I don't know whether there's a switch on and switch off button. Maybe it doesn't work all the time.
Okay.
But as you walk in here, is there anything that's like, hey, I'm feeling anything?
Yeah.
Does that happen all the time?
Yeah. That's why I'm saying, at my early stage, I was not a giant in the spirit. Now the rank that I am in the spiritual realm, I don't have a switch button and the off button, and I'm gonna tell you something that I'm not sure. Okay.
No, you can go ahead. Someone told me I'm asking this specific because someone told me I'm gonna have triplets.
You're still waiting for it.
Exactly. There was a book launch and there were famous people.
Yeah.
All in a room, maybe 200 people. And then someone specifically took me aside and said, I'm going to have triplets. Maybe you can see that too. I'm going to use myself as a guinea pig because I don't want you to prophet. And then she's shocked. And
He's like, hey, prophet.
This
is not an agreement. Yeah. You are not here for that.
Yeah.
No, look, I was going to tell you something. Tim, I had a gift when I was 12 years. It overwhelmed me because I couldn't talk to anyone about it. Things that I was seeing. The only time London Kwazi Mamane feeling normal, it's after Nkululeko. Now, this one is for matured people because certain things we don't say it because people will interpret it in you know. The only time, that is why I had kids at a very young age. The only time I will feel normal is after I finish 12. That 3 hours, I can do anything. But me, 1 minute, 1 hour, I was always in the spirit. I couldn't control it. I was always in dimensions. I was always learning things. I was always traveling, learning new spirit. That is why I understand the movement of gods. I understand the movement of the ancestors, movement of the spirit, movement of dark spirit, movement. There are too many spirits. You understand? But now I'm matured. I can get to the house and see that, man, you are cheating. Man, you're going to have abantwana I'm a twins, man, you're gonna, but I won't say it because it's not a platform for me to say that. You understand? I've learned, so even in Kawin, I can say that this one, John, a lot, this one, but I ask myself if I say that is on Netaban. I'm matured now. You understand? But my spirit, everywhere I go, I'm on. Saying I go switch off, but I need to do certain things for me. I'm one seer. I have an eye that see at night. I have an eye that see a man. I'm connected with any spirit that you can think about it. I know who's planning what, and I choose not to react. I choose not to do anything because, as I'm saying, I've decided to stop it. But it doesn't mean I cannot do it if I want to. You understand? But it's a decision that I've taken. It's a choice that, look, I love God. This is not what God has called me to do. I may have knowledge and power to do certain things. Ungathi nqa ndifila ngathi uyandisrespect ndirhalela ukufundisa uba ndingubani, but I choose not to do those things. You understand? But ukwazi wangoku nokwazi wa 10 years ago, those are two different things. Even those abandaziyo bayamangala. You understand? Bayachifu. So udelelwa ngamakhwenkwe sekwenzeka. You know, as I said to you, I think a month ago, and this mention some some guy wanted to test power. You understand, on me. So basically with one of a person that I used to have a problem with, So I think usen a problem now, You know most if you go ebomin, you'll always have people about it, no matter what, rest until So this guy, I've been seeing this guy sending things at night, Tumelela or Mamlambi is one, Then I downloaded a number in the spirit.
That's interesting. We're listening, sir. Men of God, we're listening. How do you download someone's number?
I think too much information. You're like, hey, which one is this one? That's Then I'm phoning, and I said, "You young man, why are you doing this?" He said, "Hey, young lions. If I know hey, devil, I invite you." Then devil appear. Then the problem start, because it's easy to say it, isn't it? Once you travel in the spiritual realm, you learn to respect the spirit. You don't invite the spirit of darkness if you are not ready to fight it. You understand?
That's wisdom, actually.
The fact that you have power, it doesn't mean you must invite other powers. There are other powers. Territory, respect territory. Power, respect each other. That's why ubumnyama busuka xa kuzukhanya, because they fought once and they don't want to fight again. And I said to this young man, you do not want me to be your enemy. I said, call your mother now. She's sick. In 30 minutes, uzobe say right. I hope it's a lesson. I didn't want to do it, but I had to teach her a lesson, because I can't every day wake up and stop a boy uzongibuyisela into engingafuna ukuzenza. I needed to show him that, look, I can do more. So don't disturb me. I'm doing the work of God, but I'm able to ukuqhoba ngempama while you are doing that. And so it's a choice, and it's not an easy choice. I'm faced, and I'm explaining this to you so that you understand that in life and sugakuyo, even the spirit still fight me. Even the client, I was telling my PA in it, and look, this is a person, but I don't show them because I abandon by respect. This is a person who want to give me 1 million. You want me to do something, and I do not want. I have so much blood in my hand. I've decided not to. For my daughter, not for everyone, no, not for anything. I hear people, hey, no, I do not care. I've passed the level where I think about people. For me, I'm not in a business of convincing people. I'm in a business of doing it. That's why if we go to invite something, then sizokunika certificate yongena isibhedlela, will be the first one. And I will make sure that that day I'll get to that woman or that man and say, do you want to see it? And said, okay, what do you want to see? Say, no, I need prophets. I've done. I'm not a boy. I've stopped professing people. The fact that you can prophesy, it doesn't mean you have power. Mine, then best getting certificate.
Don't do that to me, please.
You understand? So I'm saying, if we can be given that platform, men of God, this world, certain diseases, and it is doctor, siyazilapha, your cancer, your depression, like depression. There's nothing called.
It's very difficult. Okay, let's get into that, because to what you're explaining, I am sympathetic to it, because I understand to some level that, for example, traditional medicine, doctors who are qualified, they much of what, especially the pharmaceutical industry as well, much of what they're able to do in terms of coming up with capsules is taken from nature, from the trees, from the leaves, from certain plants, and they're healing people.
No, it's tatwa good.
Well, of course, that's what you say. Yeah. But generally speaking, we could say that they even the chemical makeup of some of the capsules, pills that they create, the formula comes from what they studied in nature, right? So I'm sympathetic to your point of view in that, because I understand that there is power in herbs. As African people, generally speaking, I think we do understand, except for those who become modernized middle class and they turn their backs on their Africanness. But as African people, we know that there is power in herbs, and it's not special power. There's a reason why that herb is there in the first place, whether we want to believe that or not. So there's that side of me that understands it. Even from a journalistic point of view, I understand that. I'm sympathetic to that. It is only when it jumps to things like being able to heal HIV, cancer, and I hear it. A lot of community radio stations, they have like 15-minute advertisements that they buy space on community radio stations, and I hear it a lot. Ukuthi was wangisiza usibanibani within 25 minutes yaze yangena 3 million on my bank account. I think it's these kind of claims that makes it jump from, yes, at a herbal level, I understand that there are herbs that will heal you from different ailments. Kule cancer, HIV, and other serious illnesses, tuberculosis, what proof, because we've existed with each other for hundreds of years as abantu bamnyama, and then there's always been healers amongst us. We've never really had, there's always people who are HIV positive who go to umuntu inyange, and then they come back, they're still HIV positive. Some of them claim that they are not, but if you test them, if you take their blood, they're still HIV or they're still cancerous. Why has it been difficult for people in your industry, if I call it that, to prove that you are able to heal endosphenoid cancer? And do you see that that's potentially dangerous if some amongst you who are perpetuating false claims to say they are healing people from cancer, and then abantu baphuma esibhedlela baye kuwe, and then you're not healing them and they die?
I think also your question is the same thing that we were talking about it. We need to find a way of make it sure that we gather these spiritual people and say, when you say lo muntu umphilisile cancer, nanku machine masimcheck. You understand? Because that becomes an debate that said, how many people who die in the hospital? How many people abanikezwa i-medication by doctors kuthiwe nansi ilentos ipilisi izoyikhupha cancer, but cancer
but with them they say they're treating it.
Yes.
It's an accepted thing that they're not healing it because you can't heal it.
Yes.
But they treat it.
Yes.
And sometimes they take you to chemotherapy and they say there's 10% chances that you can be helped.
Yes.
But there's also 90% chances that after we help you, it's going to come back again.
Yes.
So Bona, they are specific about it because I think they are bound by law to tell you that they are treating it as opposed to healing it. Because when they tell you that they are treating it, it means they are telling you that they can't heal it.
Yeah.
Because if they could heal it, they would heal it.
Yeah. That is why spiritual people, they are called healers. We can't treat it. We are a healer. So if I'm giving you something, I'm saying let us, as black people, because now we are on power, let's stop this narrative that says many people abathi bancedekile abancedekanga, because we do not have proof. I have proof on my TV station. Abantu abathi I had cancer. I use yabona umzekelo ngoku ndikhuphe imbiza yabafazi. Many men of God were asking, why a man of God ukhuphe imbiza yabafazi? I said, why do you drink medication? Why do you go to a doctor if you are a man of God? You a problem, you need a medication. A problem. Again, if it was a pastor, look guys, I found this, it was going to be a total different thing. You understand? But because I'm an African child, because of one who's asked me, where did you learn it to start up a certificate? You understand? Again, the same person, Ochonjalo, he can't Go and say, guys, let's give these people a certificate. Because naba abantu bayi-20 bayisebenzisile le mbiza kaProphet Mamane ibasebenzele. We understand? Naba bantu bayi-50 bayisebenzisile ayibasebenzelanga. That's a fact. It's not everyone ozogcwala apha endlini ozosetyenzelwa yimbiza yami. You understand? Some they will use it ibasebenzele, some they will use it ibasebenzele but ingayikhuphi baze kuwe ibasebenzele. I'm saying traditional people, spiritual people, let's work together because ababogqirha badila nantoni nemishini. Thina sidili nomshini. We are spiritual people. If we say we are taking it out, we are taking it out. You understand? Then abamishini ke bona benza umsebenzi wabo. You understand? Now, the problem it's like inyanga zanamhlanje zaku Facebook naku TikTok zonke into ezidlalwayo. You understand? We only see them xa besithi bayekile. We don't see them xa bengena. And the question is, bebengene benayo nyani nalento. Same prophet. We only see them when they say, no, now this thing doesn't work. Okanye, now sekukhona into ethile yenzekile. But we don't go and investigate. Yokokuba ena, lo muntu ijeni yakhe iqale lephi and iqale kanjani and ufike njani la akhona. You understand? So I'm saying now, in narrative epushwayo, which is right because many people have been hurt and we must push that narrative because we need to clean the church, we need to clean the spirituality, we need to clean the body of Christ. You understand? But while we are cleaning it, let us concentrate also because if we believe kwibhayibhile uNkulunkulu uvusa abantu abafileyo, uNkulunkulu ulendoza ulapha zonke izifo, we should believe to power. And that's a problem that I used to have as a young man. That most of people who are called themselves believers, they do not believe to God. They just talk about it when it suits them. They do not believe to the power of God. Their Bible says uNkulunkulu wakhulula ingilosi zempi. There was a need for it. As uNkulunkulu akhulula ingilosi zempi, man of God, I decide uba namhlanje ngikhulula ingilosi yempi ebese sithi ngiyayikhulula manje ingilosi yempi makuchitheke igazi. You understand? There is a need for it. It needs someone to be matured enough to investigate these things. You understand? And find a way. And how do we protect the body of Christ? I'm not saying there are no challenges in the spiritual realm. I'm not saying abekho tsotsi abazothi ngiyayenza lento babe bengayenzi. But even nabogqirha we find every day onkosikazi wethu bebuya besithi hey uDr Thila benrape, uDr Thila bendenzela ukuthi. You understand? No one talks about it. And the fact yokokuba when you go to a doctor you have been raped, it doesn't mean all of them they are like that. But why us black people, everything that is black, it seems like we criticize it, we're making a shot that I vogue, which I have a problem with that. You understand? Because as much of to this platform, Singababiza, there are many plenty guys that doing the right thing. Singababiza and said, look, this one is a doctor by profession. Why you doctor? Wabuya wazosebenza lo msebenzi. He's doing the right thing. You understand? Law is doing the wrong thing. You asked me a very powerful question. How do we now Prophet Mamane kwezi zinto zobumnyama nezokhanya that seek very similar? How do we separate it? We understand? How do we separate it? That no, but lo ungumthakathi lo. We know, but lo is a good man of God or is a good spiritualist. We understand? But you can have those things, one, but you can suppress that spirit. We understand? Because naturally, there are good spirit and a bad spirit.
Yeah, I suppose even with people's personalities.
With people's personality.
But
you suppress it. You make sure that
days
you
where
work hard.
you feel evil. There are days where you don't like your colleague. There are days where you are rude to people. And there are most times where hopefully people can be nice.
Yeah, but
and you think
not good.
It's something that you're thinking.
But it can happen in the spirit.
Yeah. You mentioned that you told me that you loved Joburg, and I thought that was interesting. Tell us about some of the experiences that happened when you came to Joburg. You were 16-ish. You were still a teenager when you came to Joburg. What brought you to Joburg, and what kind of work were you doing from the people of Joburg? What were they asking you to do?
I think at Joburg, that's when I started to make serious money. In Joburg, that's when I started to live.
Yeah.
To make sure that I'm doing things, you know. Njengoba bensisho ndithi my first surgery yayise-Deep Slot, then yakhula Cosmos City, then Fourways, then ngangena deep ke ngoku to these things, you know. Started to meet your so-called politicians, meet slay queens for power, meet different things. I've done different things, you know. So and it made me who I am.
That's strange. What would a person come to you to want? Like, let's say, for example, leaning into the example, your slay queens. Like, what does that person want from you, and what do they want you to do for them? Because part of, excuse my naivety, part of the appeal to women as I see them is that it's either you're a gorgeous person or you're not. And it's either you are bright enough to use your big bums and your breasts to attract people with money. And I think that's a game, how I see it. So if you are unattractive naturally, what would you help that person with so that then they get money from men? Understanding the game is lay queen. Because you can't make them suddenly attractive. I would assume.
You can actually. You can.
Well, they ngaphandle we surgery and put more ass, more ass and more.
You can. It actually. You can. You can make someone uthi mobheka angabikho umuntu omhle okwadibana naye ugqitha lo mbheka athi lo asecaka ke sithi ena hey mfo ngeke ufike njani apho usithi umhle lo muntu, depending, you can see the same thing but depending which eyes are you wearing. You can see la manzi ungawabona emhlophe la manzi but mina ngawabona ebomvu. Then the argument will be who's right, who's wrong.
Oh, there's only one fact. It's either you're gorgeous or you're not. I like gorgeous women, so
you understand?
You can't fool me to make me think that you're gorgeous when you're not.
If usetshenziselwa something, and I'm gonna not ask you personally.
Sure.
You probably have dated someone ocinga bafana ba akekho mhle and attractive ngendlela ubungakhawuleze, you know, la nto yokudibana nomuntu uqonda ba wow, this lady, but because I'm here, let me take a number. I'm just doing an example.
No, I'm following what you're saying.
So then you realize after conversation, but actually, she's got a good heart.
She's an interesting person.
Yeah, no, she's an interesting person.
Yeah.
Then you're dibana camera and you're like, wow. Yabona gqityiwe ngapha sixa sihleli sise mfo ubonani awungeke usixalele ba yey kuyaphakwa pha uyabona. So depending, but I want to answer you.
But most of that game, let me just of course this is your interview, and you're going to explain to us what you do, but most of that game, because I like the subject particularly, I love gorgeous women. I'm a sucker for them, especially when they are nice people as well.
And you don't find it combo. Usually gorgeous people are not nice people.
There's that. There's been books written about that. Actually. Someone once said that beautiful women have a challenge of being insufferable, largely because they go through life never being told that they are insufferable because they are beautiful. So abantu abahle bayadiga and bayonyanyisa because most of the time they grow up not being told bayonyanyisa because men just want to clap at them.
Nokuthi because baqalelwa any man xa begqitha uyagqitha, so bayithatha lonto bayifake engqondweni bacimba bafana ba you can sustain life with it,
just with those good looks. I just lost my train of thought a little bit, but just on that this is a personal opinion, and men go through different things. Like different men, some men can't get it. Like they're just shuman. Like unfortunately, that's it. Like it's a desert for them. But you can't convince me that someone is gorgeous when they're not. Me personally, I see it when I see it. and I'm an admirer of gorgeous people. I'm like, because I know I'm not gorgeous. So it's the first thing I notice about gorgeous person is like, oh, you're gorgeous. But I won't say it, but I would notice it. How could you convince me through your work that a person who's not gorgeous is gorgeous?
Look, it will depend, my client, at that time. Let's say you can afford, which I think you can. You can afford to
poor.
pay.
I'm poor. Everyone, please, I'm poor. I can't afford nothing.
Which I think you can to give someone 100,000.
I can't afford that.
Then someone come to me and say, look, Usis, come to me and say, I work with this guy. Hey, the way I treat unkosikazi wakhe ngakhona. Wow, this guy makes sure he provides. And angifuni mana yeke umfazi wakhe. But I know unayo 100,000 nje change angayiphosa kum. You understand? But ndiyanxiba izigqebhezana akanothisi, ndiyanxiba into enamabele akanothisi. Ungenza ntoni mani ukuninika this guy? Ndiyamfuna, uyabona? And nayo wam naye, but akanamali. You know, sometimes uthando. Anyway, so then I say kuye, okay, nikeza isithombe. Because it's always easier stomping because amagama ayafana.
Sure.
So if in nesithombe sakho I can easily summon your spirit. Also depending uba now protected kangakanani, because it doesn't mean if I summon your spirit it will be easy summoned, because now probably unengelosi yakho nabantu bakwenu protect you, but it's a game of spirituality. I can always maneuver that. Mm-hmm. Some you win, some you don't win. You understand? Because I think it would be wrong of me to say everyone you summon you just win. You understand? So it depends also on uba strong kangakanani. You understand? So I summon you, then I realize, but yay, this guy, uyawathanda amabele. Ne? Then I said, come to me tomorrow in the morning. Nditsho kulo sisi ke.
Ikhona uyawathanda amabele, just in case.
Yeah, ikhona ndiyo.
Aye.
Ndiyo.
No, but boobs are beautiful.
Ndiwathanda.
No, women's
breasts. Amabele.
But women's breasts are beautiful.
Ananto sebeleni.
Women's breasts.
And yabona wona uthe uthanda amabele. I think also uyayithanda nempundu nobufit. All of those things.
No, actually, the thicker they are, the more unattractive it is.
That's it.
That's teen. Yeah. What the f am I gonna do with big ass? Like I always ask myself, does teen is impundu zingala? Yeah, but these
after the podcast ngizokufaka kwelesini uzozenza nto. I'm joking. Siyasebenza futhi abantu abazithandayo.
I think there's
nomsebenzi omkhulu.
That's interesting, but because I've always asked the question that what the fuck are you gonna do with that ass? Because it's not like you're gonna penetrate it. You're not gay.
You know a friend of mine. Udla ngokuthi mjana. Into engingazithanda ngabantwana bangenampundu. Ubona xa seyilele. Sezampundu zisondelene nawo. Uthi khona ubushushu ezibenzayo noba yintoni. Yabo. So depending, people love size, different things.
Average, yeah, that's a good point. Like people love different, because average size woman, like normal ass is good enough. Like why do you need it to be? Because I know that there are men who are stimulated by an ass this size. Like, like I wouldn't do it, that person, because I'm like, what am I gonna do with this ass?
So depending about which style do you love and stuff. Because also engqondweni yendoda impundu zimotivateka yinto eziyithandayo. You know, you actually, if you see someone, if ungumuntu wezilenda okanye ngumuntu if umuntu wezilenda, you think, hey, lo mntana sendimbambile ndimphakamisa. That's what comes in your mind. But if ungumuntu wempundu, you would probably think, but
you would imagine
sendidlala ngazo, whatever you think. So depending also about what finds you attractive to different people. People get attracted to different things. But let's say uthanda ke ngokamabele, because there are guys who thanda amabele. Ukhona abathanda impundu, bekhona abafana nabo abangathandi anything because they are holy. You know, men of God. Glory to Jesus.
I don't know if does your PA, the way your PA is laughing, I don't know if she agrees with that.
Yeah, no, uyavumelana nami uyathi uba kodwa my pastor.
She's coughing. It's a sign.
Uyathi uba my pastor I don't know. So then
uyavuma Amanda? Oh, you're gonna lose your job if you don't.
So then I download your spirit. I take the feeling nankosikazi wakho ndiyithathe ndiyibeke kule ntombazana. Whatever. Uyazi uba umuntu uyakwazi ukunxiba omnye umuntu.
Just explain it a little bit.
Ndiyakwazi uba if intombazana ithanda certain body endodeni, you know most amanye intombazana athanda umkhaba because angadlala ngawo amanye athanda six pack.
That's very strange.
Ehlisa abanye bathanda ukuphakanyiswa, abanye like those guys are lazy. The people love different things.
Yeah.
Then you get to a mind of that person, then you realize into ayithanda uyithathe uyibeke kulo. So that is why kuthiwa you are witched. There is a spirit esifakiwe kuwe wabona into emntwini angeyiyo. You understand? So now, until because remember, if you are not protected, that spirit will stay to you. La uthi xa uthetha nomuntu othile ube uyikho qomba this person ngikhalela ukumenza nayo yonke into. Ngikhalela to take care of her, ngikhalela ukuthi and kuwe ngelo xesha noba ombethanga, but immediately nje nisondelane, that spirit sizotake over. Then you start to say ifana nomuntu etshwalena no mhlambe lo mzekelo ngabikho right yabona xa usetshwalena ngaze ngisele but my friends basele bathi yazi mtshana ukungena endaweni uqonda ba wonke umuntu lapha mbi man. After 3 years you start to say ngathi akekho bad uthi khawuleza uphume sewuzonxila uyabo. So it happened like that. You start to notice ba hayi man lo mntana kudala ngisebenza naye bekutheni ngamboni uyabo. Then you're telling me, then I'm like akho nto itshintshileyo man, lo mntana still wear the same thing. Usengila mntana man kodwa ngeke mtshana hey lo mntana lo abeyibonile into abeyinxibile. You understand why? Because there is a spirit now esisamonile sangena kuwo. That spirit siso esizocontrola okokuba ena ube lo muntu abe attractive kuwe ebe ngazuba attractive kuwe. You understand? So we use different method if we do that. So I'm saying back in the days they will come to me and say I've never met this guy but I'm interested to this guy because my friend apparently while he was dating this guy or whoever that I know, this guy used to give him 30,000, whatever the case may be. Also remember you can do that in a clean spirit. You don't have to use bad spirit. You are able to pray for someone ashade. You are able to summon indoda yomntu nomfazi womntu in the realm of the spirit. Sigxothe bonke abantu ababi because you now anointed, you now blessed, you now favored. We surround you ngamandla and this way God favored this man of God right now. You can also do it, but the difference with that one is that you are enforcing power to happen now and ungasusa nomuntu okhona. Uyakwazi ukufakela unkosikazi wakho isichitho, unkosikazi wakho xa ekubona uvele unuka itoilet okanye kube khona into embhorayo. You understand? Okanye avele afama feelings okanye wena ungavukela depending ngokuba when we're doing it yintoni esiyisebenzisileyo and now how weak you are in the spiritual realm. So anything is possible.
And this, so you would have people consulting you, slay queens and stuff like that. And what about the politicians? What would they want from you? And how would you help them when you got to Joburg?
I don't think I'm ready to look, man,
say something vague, but give us an idea of what do politicians want from people like you.
Let's talk about generally. What a politician will want to a spiritualist. Firstly, I wanna be a mayor. Dinomdu or nithi constant indolent. Constant when you have a person fighting
competitor.
You have a person fighting the same position.
Yeah, contestant, competitor, it means the same thing.
You have the person or contester and say, look, Lumchita Lozong Shai. He's got more funder, he's got dialogue party. Ela umenza ba ena asuka. Go back kulando besithetha ngayo. okanye ndenze ngithandwe ngabantu. Make sure that mangithetha abantu bayangimamela. To protect me. I'm a politician, I'm a business guy. People can want to kill me. People will want to take advantage of me. And namatyala endiwahambayo ndenza uba amatyala ama-disappearish. You understand? So then you become umuntu wakhe lo muntu. Every problem anayo uza kuwe. Athi mfo kuzovotwa okanye mfo ndiyo-aplayela ithenda, mfo ndiyokwenza into ethile. Then you maneuver your way. You do your own things. And you must be willing uba izandla zakho zizoba mdaka, because power doesn't come easy and money doesn't come easy. If anything ayifunayo, you can go tomorrow ayokwenza a dumbest thing. Into emathileyo uve kuthiwa ubani bani bethile ubani bani, you understand, okanye ubani bani slept with ubani bani, whatever the case. Then eze kuwathi emfo le nto izondixaka le, menze lo muntu bangacingi ukuya court, menze lo muntu bathini, you understand. So these are things that I used to do these are things that one can do for politicians, you understand. And it doesn't have to be politicians. It can be business people, people with money, people with power.
So when you personally look at people generally, whether it's Western Cape, Eastern Cape, the whole country, even a president, for example, you look at someone who's got someone that he consults. You believe every politician has got someone he consults.
I know, because some of them, I know. Just that
even
it's not a topic that I want to talk about. I know.
A figure like Ramaphosa, you would know that they consult people.
Leaders consult people. Leaders use ukufika kwi-power, man of God, it's not easy. And I don't want to say everyone with power ufike dabi. That is not a fact. You know, there are people who figure right, they've done wrong things there and there. There are people abasebenzisa izinto ezimbi now. There are people who use satanic powers. There are people abalala namanye amadoda to get money, to get position. You know, as spiritual people, we know that. Some of it will give them power to do that, because it will give them power to sleep with other men. You know, so there are too many things.
That's strange, though. Why would a spirit want to sleep with other men, a man and another man?
Remember, spirit is still in power. Ayikho into enepower njengokuthatha amandla endoda ngasemva. Yayazi mos i-orgasm yakho ibingasemva.
I don't know that.
You don't know?
Like a man's orgasm comes from him being penetrated from the back. I don't know that.
Hey, prophet, andikaze ndifike kule.
Yeah, like that's
anyway,
strange for
so,
me. Like I don't.
The power, the spirit is interested to power. So the power of a man, once you, so you will find people who abathwalayo nabafuna power, either you zawulala nomuntu ohlanyayo, there are too many ways of getting power.
What's the sexual aspect of it? Because there's also this idea that this constant desire for sex as it relates to spirituality as well. And also there's stories about people who would ngimtholile lo bhuti kwi-club mangibuya kuye emzini wakhe kunenyoka mara le nyoka kumele ilalele nami. Where does that come from? Why does that, if there is such a snake, why would it get satisfaction through sleeping instead of just feeding it other animals, for example?
Also remember, when you feed something with blood, iqale enkukhwini iphume enkukhwini egusheni iphume egusheni yenkomeni iphume enkomeni yemntwini. You know? So the only easiest way it's sex, because that's where you can get power yabanye abantu, because there's no other way lands of umana khona power yakho other than ba dilale now. You know, you will know musqawlala nomuntu uyashare soul and stuff. So mawulala nomuntu uthatha power yakhe so to field that spirit. And his spirit doesn't operate without a power yomntu ophilayo.
So who is the taker in that instance? If I have intercourse with a woman, which is my preference, I have intercourse with women. Who's taking from another person?
It depends also ba into yakho xa isenziwa yenziwe njani. Also remember kukhona abathi before you lala nale ntombazana, you summon that spirit. And when we talk about the snake, we don't talk about something that is visible. We talk about something, and it doesn't have to be snake, it can be anything. Just that
so that snake is not visible?
No, it's not visible.
But why would they call it a snake? In all the videos I've ever seen, when people talk about this, I met this guy, he's handsome, he's got money, but when we got to his place, I had to have sex with the snake. He's not interested in me, this guy. Why are they describing it as a snake? How do they see its shape and stuff like that?
Ukhumbule, if you meet someone othi ndlala nesilwane, it's wena ngalala naso akuxalele but ungasiboni. And I guess it's a common thing yabantu. Find someone bekunento elala nami ebusuku, you understand? Now, then you find someone who's sensitive to the spirit. Then uyakwazi ukuyiva, because at that particular time when this spirit comes, spirit is like I said, look, something is happening. Than umntu ozolala without being aware bulele naso. You understand? As funny, some people are sensitive to the spirit. But at that one, snake le uthetha ngaso, it's not a visible snake, but kufuneka usibonile so that it can torment you. You understand? So those ingekho visible, but xa sisiza kuwe, it will be visible. The fact yokokuba William Nicole, there are too many spirits. Ungagqitha kuso many times ungasiboni.
Yes.
But the day ugqitha khona, because at that particular time, that spirit needed to torment you. Kufunekile usibonile so that sizokwazi ukutorment. So spirit ifana nokuhlala nomuntu othweleyo. Ungahlala naye for 20 years ungamazi buthwele. If akhonto yakho ekudibanisele bumazi. And it's not a coincidence uba the denye mini uzobona kungena into emnyango. Kufunekile uyazi. Either that thing ilwa ngoba funeka ithathe yena wena, yena akafuni uba ithathe wena, okanye nguye ofuna uba ithathe wena. You understand? So spiritual things, you only see it when you have to see it. You understand? Ungahlala nayo inyoka, and I'm saying inyoka because yona abantu abathatha ngayo.
Yes.
Inyoka, it's a familiar spirit. You understand? Ungahlala nayo apha endlini ingabona, then ndingene mna ndithi wow, man of God, unenyoka la. Everyone like iphi. I'm like, why ugcina inyoka endlini? But because abantu ohlala nabo, they are not sensitive to the spirit. That is why I'm saying many leaders, personally, now, I look at them better, especially African leaders, but I will see something beyond what they are saying. And there's nothing painful to see the nakedness of someone advocating a different thing, doing a different thing.
Yeah.
You understand? And it ought to take a level of maturity not to say those things, because it's not your place to say it. You understand? Because you will be killed. You understand? Because they have power, they have influence. You understand? And sometimes you may think you have power to say it, but you have a family also to protect. Engenayo le power ifana now. You understand? So now you need to exercise certain maturity to say, okay, it's like me. Le nto ubungibuza yona, if ngangena apha endlini ndibona ma, oh, actually wena khona into zenzayo nonkosikazi wakho khona into azenzayo. Ne? Then
I would find that very fascinating. If you were to tell me that my wife is doing some fucked up shit, I'll be, oh, okay, I didn't know.
You see,
that would be interesting information.
So for me, it need to take maturity to me to say, if I'm telling you tomorrow uyambulala lo nkosikazi, if I'm telling you, how about abantwana bakho abazokhula bengenamama? You understand? Can I do something yokokuba why lo nkosikazi eyenza le nto ngimenza uba angabusayifuni? You understand? And again, awuzuza kuma uzondibonga and say, hey chief, undincedile, because you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I've done it. So that's a level of maturity that I'm talking about it. But most of the things and go through zona, I believe uThixo bendipreparishela this time, because now I'm helping a lot of people without them knowing that I'm helping them.
Yeah.
You know, because of the knowledge that I've acquired. Now I'm able to face the darkness. Doesn't matter to be veiled.
So
I was part of you. I know.
You are now being a prophet. Who gave you that title? Do you have a congregation? Are you now completely separate from what you used to do? Let's talk about the church side of you now being a prophet. Do you have a congregation? Do you have a place where people gather and you are the leader of that congregation?
Hey, it's very difficult, man of God. It took, and I always say to my PA, it took me being broke to run a church. And I know people think it's easy and you have money and this and this. And, you know, I had to, I think Nkulunkulu had to put me down and say, look, this is a different gene. You understand? And for me, I always say to people, I'm a spiritual prophet. I'm an African prophet, you understand? And the title of prophet, I knew it, I think, when I was 20, you understand? Because in I didn't have any time. I was just me. I was just a spiritualist. You understand? Why? Because I've never ngikhula ebhizana zange ndeva komuntu ebhizana ukuthi ungumprofeti. So into ndiyivele phethe, oh, khona abaprofeti, umprofeti wenzani? You understand? Oh, actually, God said you're a prophet of the nations at a very young age. But again, I didn't know about that. I didn't have any prophet that in Mazi. You understand? And when I came to realize, but look, it was influenced with many visions, with many journey that I had to go through, cleansing that I had to go through with God. You understand? Personally, me and God having a conversation to say, look, man, need to go to this, go and apologize to this, go and do this, go and do this. Then now you are ready to go and start a church in East London, go and start a church in Pizan, because I went to do a crusade, a kaya langizalule khona eBizana, and God said labantu bakwazi as umuntu used to give them this and this, now ambobeka itent. You understand? And someone who figured, hey, ndiyayivale yokuthandaza mntana, asike siyeke hlole yokuthandaza, awunika umuntu okwanika wona ngonyaka othi. I'm like, Chief, let me pray for you, let me give you oil and water. Like, mntana ngiyandifuna nto, utheni ngowangenwa yile nto yalamakhwenkwe, you know, ngasemagaya wangenwa yile nto yamanzi ngoku mntana thina sifuna yanto, uyabona? So it's not an easy thing, but I had to accept it and be able to pay the price, you know, go through man of God, go through a serious challenging in the spiritual realm. But now answering your question, yes, I'm a prophet. I'm owning I have a church in Durban. I'm all over. I'm all over. I'm doing crusades all over. I'm doing healing and deliverance. I'm still in the same business of fighting power to power.
So you being a prophet, what do you like? Do people come to your church in order for you to provide some sort of a service to say, I have this problem, deliver me from this problem?
Most of the people they come either abantu bonile TV-ni, bantu vile radio-ni, bantwana bami bani-introduce nakwento zokudlala uFacebook or TikTok, yonke loo nto le, either banibone lapho, they post my videos. Then some they come and say, Chief, I have a problem, do this and this and this, fix it, because I also do one-on-one, you understand? Then I have a service on Sunday where we teach the word of God, you know, and that is where I teach about my life, you understand? And I give wisdom to people, and I allow God.
You do realize we've almost spoken for close to 2 hours, and the first hour and 20 minutes, it would be difficult for someone. So in the last 10 minutes, we've just spoken about you leading a church and having a congregation. People would find it very difficult to see you in the light of being a church leader, particularly as you've just described the things that you used to do. How difficult is that? Because I'm sure some people still want, or we may not even know, that you're still consulting other people to do stuff, helping politicians to do stuff?
Look, I deal with that with every day. I think for me, that's why I'm saying, once you get to a journey of finding God and understanding who you are and finding your spirit and finding yourself, uNkulunkulu uyakupha amandla to deal with certain things, and give you wisdom. Because I will come to church and I realize that close to half of the church people are here to take miracles. They want prophets. Then I decide to teach. Then one says, prophet, to prophet, man. We know you are able to see, to prophet. Then and I choose not to prophesy. Then I teach. After the service, they're like, wow, you actually prophet. You actually prophesy to us, but not the prophecy that we are used to. That's a Pagama, but you were able, through scriptures, everything that you were talking about you were talking about to me. You understand? You were talking about what I'm going through. Actually, I have these visions. Actually, I'm attacked, but now you have highlighted the way of dealing with things. I mean, and I always thank God for testimonies as Puma Bandlen. I remember one day I was in Nangsamatati and against a revival. A young man came to me and said, Chief, I've been bugele a TV and ubhuti wami omdala uthi ngexesha sentabeni nguwo uqinisa intaba yawo. You understand? And I said, if this man can change to be this man of God, now I'm a spiritualist. Help me, I want to change. You understand? And I said, how much are you making a day? He said, no, I make more than 100,000 a day. And I said, be willing now. You're going to make 10 rand a day. It start there. You understand? It start there, because what will motivate you anyway in the first time, it's money. You understand? And I'm being realistic. You understand? Then I needed to take this young man in a journey of cleansing, in a journey of hlala, kungabikho mntu ozayo. You understand? In a chain la uzofika abantu ababini beze bathi baphethwe inhloko uthi okay thathani amanzi bathi asinayo nesent. Kungene SMS bekhona umuntu othi, Chief, I want to give you 200,000 to this. Whether one oyivayo will understand it or not, but when you are in a situation where you need something, now there's a sacrifice that you need to make. You understand? There's a choice that you need to make. And I'm saying to this young man, make a good choice. God will provide for you. You understand? He always does. If uyenzile kum, he will do it to you. You understand? Don't allow this. There are people who will remind you ngezinto ozenza. There are people who will still mark you ngezinto ozenza. There are people who abangazukholelwa kuwe if you are sharing your story, but that's your story. We understand you have learned something. We all have a story to tell, and we must tell the story so that even those who are going through, even those who are deeper in it, they understand that if Prophet Mamane kwazile ukuphuma, making so much money, whatever motivate them, you understand, then they can also naboba puma and live the life that I'm living, and God will be able to cleanse them and protect them and support them. You understand? And sihlukanise ubumnyama nokukhanya. You understand? And make it a point that uNkulunkulu is glorified, because that's what we are here to do. We're here to serve God, and we serve Him in a different way.
You mentioned something interesting about yourself. You said that there was a point where you only felt normal after you have sexual intercourse.
Yeah.
3 hours, for 3 hours after you have sexual intercourse, you would start to feel normal.
Yeah.
Other than that, most of the time you would feel, you would always be in the head of being a spiritual person in the spiritual world, yeah, and seeing things. To what extent did that affect you then? How many children did you end up having because of that? And are you still, because in a way you were saying you're a sexual addict, because you only feel normal once you have sexual intercourse. How bad was that? How many women were you sleeping with? And how many children did you end up having?
Now, look, that was a long time ago. That was a long time ago. And I think I've managed it at a very young age, but I end up having so many kids, you understand? That was my way then. Of
how many kids
do I have now? There are too many. I sort of ubaleka lo mbuzo. There are too many.
Well, we have to get the answer. We have to get the answer.
Too many.
Is it more than 20 kids?
No. I ain't got fig. Hopefully, I'll get.
So it's between 10 and 20 kids.
Like 10 got.
So it's between 10 and 20.
Yeah.
So you have 16 kids.
I don't know, but you can like 10.
Okay. Okay.
That's the first question that I paid really there.
Well, I mean, to the benefit of people who are watching, at least I tried. They will know at least I tried to get them. And from different provinces.
Yeah. I've kids in Botswana, kids in Zambia. Yeah. Different. Yeah. I've traveled, man. Of course, I've lived. I've done things. I haven't even shared part of it to you. I've done things. And I thank God that one day, given the platform, I'll go to probably things that will serious things, because there are serious things, there are serious people. And I still have SMS every day. People say, hey, Chief, hey, you must mention, hey, you must. And I'm like, guys, come on. I will never do that. You understand? But I must talk about certain things. You know?
So with this, let's to go back to that original question. With the kids, was that as a result of what you're saying? Yeah. I'm trying to link it to this thing of sexual addiction.
Not sexual addiction.
Well, I mean, if you only feel normal after you have sex, because I'm feeling normal now. Yeah. Like for the past 8 hours, I'm feeling normal. I don't need to go and have sex to feel normal. So that's got to be some sexual addiction.
But remember, in addiction, it's something that you have done it,
and you can overcome it.
And you can overcome it. But the different thing to me, before even have sex, I knew that the only way that I can be normal for 2 hours is when I have sex. So that is not an addiction, because addiction is for me taking this water and drinking it every day. Then I can't live without it.
But
it's a different case.
You realize you're describing the same thing, but using different words.
Yes.
So Abandu, who are smokers, habitual smokers.
Yeah.
That's what they would say. They would say that I feel better now after I've smoked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you figured out that you are constantly being challenged in the spiritual world, and then that means you are almost absent in real life.
Yeah.
And for you to be present, you must have sex. Whether that means you must have it 2 times a day or 3 times a day with 3 different.
But the word addictive, ilisebenza if you are addicted to something that you drink or something that you do.
Even sex is an addiction.
Yes, but I'm saying I knew it before I have sex. Before I even know that I will have sex, I knew that, and that's the only way.
That's why even people who smoke say the same thing.
Is it?
They know that.
Even
that's arguable. Before they smoked, they wouldn't have known that this gives them some sense of relief.
That's why I'm saying it's for me it's a different thing, because now when you say someone is addicted, it means uqalile wabhema. After bhemile kufuneka ebhemile every day.
Yeah.
So I'm saying before ndiqala ukubhema ndingazange ndabhema, I already knew that the only way ezondenza ukuba ndibekwazi uconnecta nelizwe is to do that.
But the outcome was the same, in that in order for you to be normal, you just needed this thing, and if it wasn't there, you felt abnormal. So the outcome,
I can do something else, because I had a choice to do many things that can make me normal, but I chose that one.
But have you been able to not overcome per se, but have you been able to tone it down and stuff?
No, a long time ago, man of God. I think if I had to be honest to you, when I was 20. When I was 23.
That's actually the question I was about to ask you.
When I was 23.
Compared to the last 10 years, how many children have you had?
Yeah, no. When I was 16 years, I had about 4 kids at a go.
Yes.
When I was 18 years
That's a lot
old.
that's a lot of children for a child.
When I was
That's a lot of children.
17 years, I have 7 kids at a go.
When you were 17?
Yeah, when I was 17.
And you were a child?
Yeah.
You were a child. That's a lot of kids.
So I'm trying to give you now
I see where it's going. And I see, like, if you compare back then to now, it confirms how different you are now.
I'm old now.
Maybe it's because you're getting older. Because when you get older, because when you were 17, you can go through the night 4 rounds, 5 rounds. Now, naturally, at our age,
I can still go. I'm still very young,
well,
and I know people.
I'm not that good.
People think I'm old because remember, you start to be old.
Are you in your 30s?
Yeah.
Now I'm in my 30s.
Okay.
And I one is enough. I have things to do. I'm ambitious. Like, I can't be focusing on that thing.
Man, of course, you must take care.
Yeah.
Give it 2 hours to deal now.
Yeah, when I have a goal, I have a goal. It's nothing lousy. I know that it's important that it must be satisfactory, right?
Okay.
I understand that.
Okay.
Right? But I have things to do. I am a very busy human being for me to over focus on that. I think that thing, actually, when it's done too many times, it shows that maybe you are unemployed. Like, you have too much time on your hands for you to do it 4 times a day, maybe.
I think clients are with different people, but clients are no one.
Yeah.
That is why nginembiza igazi ndinembiza yabafazi because la nkonzo inkonzo ebaluleke kakhulu emshadweni.
Yes.
Inkonzo ebaluleke kakhulu masibayeke ama relationship.
Yeah.
Let's talk about umshado. Inkonzo ebaluleke kakhulu kubantu ababini emshadweni ekufuneka kuba uyiallocated ixesha and naxa uyenza ingilosi zakho zonke zize ukwazi ba xa uthunya eBhayi ugqithe uye Cape Town. You know, it's important, man of God.
I agree with you.
And also ukhumbule bakuzofika ixesha la you will be more busy. If you think we are busy now, there will come a time la you'll be more busy because you're such a anointed young man of God. You understand? You will find yourself even in a week you are in Dubai, you are in Cape Town, but use this time now so those memories zishiyeke. That's why and ngiyathanda xa usithi ubhekene nayo. Not once a day.
Right, once a day. That's good it's in moderation. Once a day it's good. Once a day.
Okay, one esuku, one exit.
I think still that's too much. Unless it's spontaneous. You didn't plan it.
Yeah.
No, okay. You didn't plan it, it just happened. No one would say no to that.
Oh, yeah, no, of course.
Someone is coming and they're touching and they're like, okay, they're in the mood. You do it, right? That's great. It's absolutely fantastic.
That's why there must be money and happiness and stuff.
Yeah, because this
again,
obsession
if you have
with
so much stress, you can't really be in the mood of that.
Yeah, but where I come from, when I come in, the question is about the obsession with it.
Okay.
It drives people. This obsession with it of wanting to do it 4 times a day, like with the same person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with, 4 times a day, for the rest of your life. Yeah, pure on the land. Like, you can only have X amount of children anyways. Like, you can only have, like, maybe conventional, ordinary marriage or relationship, you can have 3 or 4 kids, maybe. Let's say, generally speaking. So when you do it 4 times, what's the point? Like, it's like you have too much time on your hands.
Also, and also, a weak point of that is that you need to learn your partner, because there are partners who have a high sex drive.
Yes, I agree with that.
And also, especially as guys, we tend to be selfish about it.
Yeah.
And say, no, if I do it 2 times, yeah, but you find by your partner, that's what I appreciate.
Yes.
You understand? Because also, now before we chat, zizinto tekufuna ukuziconsider. Like umzekelo now, I can't marry someone or transition. I go for 6 months without having sex. I'm a spiritual person, and when I say even then, at least now, because I'm no longer touching izinto as dangerous, we understand. But even now, I go with needs without having to do those things. We understand. So if I can have someone now or sexual active, inganenzeli frustration, because I will have to do things and ngakwazi ukuzenza. So I think advice yethu will be before ungena emshadweni check umuntu wakho, and these are things esingazicheckiyo, you understand, ngoba khona amantombazana anomxhelo omde.
Yes, shout out to those women, shout out, there's nothing wrong with that,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
I clap hands,
anomxhelo omde, you understand, khona amadoda anomxhelo omfishane, so kuyadepend uba amandla wakwathi emntwini of God amandla abantu akafani, at least I've tried. So it's important, I think, couples to learn each other, know each other, because alikho ihlazo mos ebantwini ababini, isn't it? Xa nihleli nobabini ni explain into enizithandayo, alikho ihlazo.
Well, when you break up, she will tell the world about your problems.
Then she's not much hotter.
She will tell you that you only last 25 seconds. And that you have a tiny little thing. And that tiny little thing, and those children are not your children. And they always make it worse, like those children are not your children.
And I think ezo zinto zitshiwo xa sekuliwa ndithi.
Yes.
So but now ufuna u-understand umuntu xa itsho nto kwimudi yokulo. Akekho kwimudi yokuba uyalungisa. Probably izinto azithethayo akuzizo, but you know also emudini yokulo you say anything.
Yeah. Let me ask you one more thing, and I thank you so much for coming through to have this conversation. These are not conversations I usually have. Even when I spoke to Gogo Skoten, and I think this is in a short period of time, that's another conversation about spirituality. I'm not that educated about it, but I understand that there's a need for these conversations. People really love these conversations, and I'm always puzzled why. But anyways, we are different people. We are stimulated by different things. Why are you talking about the things that you're talking about? Why are you going on different platforms? This is my last question to you before I let you go. Why are you talking about the things that you're talking about now? What's the benefit of talking about them to you personally? What's the point of it? What's your end goal? What would you like to achieve as you talk about these things?
We are living in a time where and this one, it really touched my heart, because we're living in a time where people are going through a lot. And when they go through certain things in life, and they have been told that they have gift, and they have been told that there is a way in life, I do not benefit anything, but ingumthandazo wami to have more of this platform to explain these things, but at the end of it, and say as batal, they don't give you rest at night. You will never get anything from it. Actually, in 10 years of your life having everything, it's a worse years of your life. The nightmare, the level of uyongabikho happy, and people are victim of these things because they go to spiritual people, and spiritual people, they give them these powers. They end up killing their families. They end up committing suicide. And I'm sorry to say this, man of God, most of celebrities, so-called celebrities, who, and I'm not mentioning anyone, I'm including myself, I'm putting myself there, who are going through depression and end up killing themselves. Not all of them. They are suffering, whether it's pressure of the pressure yomhlaba, and they end up isolution yabo kukuthatha ezizinto zimnyama, and they end up bengakwazi ukuphila nazo, and they end up ziba too much for them. And I've made a decision, and it was not an easy decision to say, let me give awareness kubantu bakuthi, but there's nothing good will ever come. Actually, I've never seen any slay queen mna sihlele emzini sitshadile. I've never seen it. Angaze ngisibone. Ngaze ngibona umuntu mna kuthiwa wayithwele, kuthiwa abantwana bakhe ba-inheritile izinto zakhe and bayaphumelela, bafanazo. why wasting your life taking things ezizokwenza abantwana bakho babe paralyzed, taking snakes that where there's so much power in the body of Christ? And I think that's my attitude towards it, to say there is power in the name of Jesus. There is power in the light. We may talk about these things and people think we are talking about it for the sake of talking about it. Izinto engigqithe kuzo angifuni abantwana bami bagqithe kuzo. And I must make it a point, Yokokuba, I tell my kids my journey so that my kids, they don't fall trap kwezi zinto. They understand also amandla okuziprotect, so that tomorrow, that is why you work so hard, to make sure umntanakho akazuqala ukuthengela iflowers ngumntana akakwazi.
For sure.
Iflowers uzozithengelwa ngutata, akazuqala ukuthengelwa ipolo ngumntana akakwazi. Imagine umuntu othi ena, my career was going well, whether I'm a teacher, whether I'm a doctor, whatever that I am, but now my career is going down and someone is saying, I have a solution for you. Do this, then it will give you money. Then that person never see any podcast kakwazi. Look, these things will be attractive. It's attractive if you see people be posting his nickname mali, be posting his yabo, you will think it's something nice. But we need more of these podcasts where people will elect the youth, but look, there is another way. Ongaphila ngayo ngaphandle kwe-crime. Nathi sisuka up. We've done certain things. We've manipulated the spirit. We've manipulated the knowledge that uNkulunkulu asinike yona. You understand? We end up finding ourselves having to pay the price. And I haven't even talked about the price that I needed to pay. People that don't know, but at some point they were part of me that was taken. You understand? People that don't know, but part of me, there are many things when you are going through it, having to fight it. There is a person today who want to live, whether it's an habit, whether in, but uma ihamba estratweni ukhona into empushayo ukubone when you have an anger issues, you always justify yourself, but why do you do this? Why do you force me to do this to you? You understand? And we need to tell that person that you will never live in a world la ezizinto azizuba khona khona. Zizoba khona, but there are different ways of attacking it. You understand? And when we are offering ezinye indlela zabantu abangaphila ngayo ngaphandle kokuphila ngalento, because now ukuthwala is fashionable. Now ukuthwasa is fashionable. Sebegqibile ukuthwasa, sebeyabuya, sebeyakhesa ngoku. You understand? The question is that yintoni bibasile in the first place. You understand? Because as much of now, it seems like igame edlalwayo about tomorrow umuntu uyathwasa ngalamini umuntu uyabukhesa ukuthwasa. Now there's so much that is happening in the spirituality that even take away the power of God, that even take away the power of spirituality. We understand? So we need to restore it. We need to talk about things with evidence. When we talk about it, we talk about things that we went through will probably help others. Others, they won't be helped. It's a nature of life. You can't help everyone. But those two people that were able by the podcast, what is it that I can learn from ubomi balom prophet and upingu, and they care to investigate, because I'm giving the platform to go and investigate if they wanna investigate. Yokoba investigate ubomi balom, to go to Tipslut. Those who know me, they will tell you. And you won't ask 10 people, I promise you. You understand? So now you have to check now and say, wow, uNkulunkulu uyaphila. If uThixo ukwazile ukusiza lento, and I guess even human of God and me were motivated by something, whether your father, whether your umakhelwane, but someone said to you, you can do it. Even if ukhulele 2 room, you can build to be a 10 room. You understand? And we need those people. Abazot, and I was part of certain things, but I had to go out because it doesn't pay. it doesn't give you happiness. You will have what you think you are looking for, but it will overwhelm you. It will kill you. You understand? And I think for me, that's what motivates me, and that's what make me And I'm praying also more interview that won't concentrate where don't have to be talking about this, but talk about where I am now and my journey with God. La uNkulunkulu angibeke khona nala ngisaya khona, because I'm still going far kunala ngisuka khona.
All right. There you go. Thank you very much to Prophet Kwazi Mamane. Thank you so much for coming through. And thank you to everyone as well for watching. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, subscribe to the content. Maybe my last words to everyone would be, there's nothing that can replace discipline and hard work. There's no shortcuts to this. Some of us have been working hard in our industries for the past 10, 15 years. If you're not disciplined and if you don't work hard, you are in deep shit. There is no shortcut to this. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching us.